Hey bookworms! I'm Bookmouse.
And I'm BookKitty, and this is
our BookNook. So recently we did a video where it was a reading habits tag, and we did me. I answered the questions that BookKitty asked. Now it's her turn. We are going to ask her the questions and see a little bit more about BookKitty's reading habits. All right, let's jump in. Let's start asking her the questions. So number one, do you have a certain place at home for reading?
Well, it's not particularly for reading. I do tend to read on one particular side of the couch, but I do live with a total of 6 people and 4 animals, so I don't get to read there all that often, and I wish I had my own place for reading that wasn't in the common area, but I don't. So I use that, or if my roommates are watching TV, sometimes one of them will let me use her blob. She has this, giant 6-foot wide beanbag chair.
Good Lord.
In one of her rooms, and so when they're on the couch, sometimes she lets me use that, which is pretty awesome, because, it's a 6-foot big beanbag chair.
That's a bed.
Yeah, she has slept on it, and slept better than in her bed. Generally, I'll read on the couch or on the blob, and when it's nice out, I've started reading outside until the light gets too limited.
Number 2, bookmark or random piece of paper?
I own exactly 2 bookmarks at the moment, and one of them is right there. So whatever book, if I don't have something in progress, I'll use the bookmark that I use. It's a popcorn one. It's really cheap. But if I have more than one book in progress, I'll end up with probably index cards and receipts and stuff, just because I don't have enough bookmarks for 4 works in progress.
Number 3 is, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain amount of pages?
Generally, I have to, and I use the term have to loosely, wait until the end of a chapter or a section break. Sometimes they'll break and change scenes in the middle of a chapter, and as long as there's a visible break between paragraphs, I can stop there. But I really don't like stopping in the middle of anywhere. But I've had to every now and then. Like I said, I live with 5 other people and 4 animals. Sometimes you just have to get up and go.
Yeah.
But generally have to wait for a scene break or something, or end of a chapter.
Okay.
Preferably the end of the book.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. All right, number 4, do you eat or drink while reading?
Definitely have soda next to me at all times. Definitely. I generally don't eat when I'm reading, because I usually read all at once. I don't spread my books out. I take a night and I go, okay, this is my reading night. I'm going to read this book, and I read it that night. The other night I read 2. But because of that, I generally don't end up eating until after I'm done reading. But during, I'll eat something that only requires one hand, like some tortilla chips or maybe the prepackaged chocolate glazed donuts, something that's not going to cause a huge mess. And I'm usually wearing sweatpants, so I'll just wipe my hands off before I touch the book again. I'm kind of gross, but I do make sure I wash my stuff.
All right, so number 5 is multitasking. Music or TV while reading?
Not personally. It doesn't generally bother me if there's music or TV going. Like I said, I live with 5 people and 4 animals, and there's always somebody playing music or watching TV in the evening time. But I can usually tune it out, except when they turn the volume way up. Because we have a really good sound system and a really insulated house, and it sounds awesome, don't get me wrong, but when I'm sitting there reading, and they all know that I read and write for work, kind of bothers me, and then I'm like, I can't even think, I can read the words, but I can't process them. Right. But if there's just some TV noise or some music on in the background, it doesn't bother me, but I won't, like you said, I won't put it on for myself.
Yeah.
When I write, however, whole different story.
Question number 6 is, one book at a time or several at once?
Oh my God, I much prefer one at a time. I really do. But with my writing schedule and my research on that, and my YouTube schedule and like try to keep up with reading on that. Like I have 4 in progress at the moment, and I'm at my wit's end and about to start a 5th because I have to return it to the library. So, but I really do prefer one at a time. It just makes it easier to keep it straight in my head and really pay attention to what I'm reading. You know, when I go to something else, my brain switches, and then I'm like forgetting details and forgetting, you know, what the best friend's name is, or, you know, something like that. It gets really convoluted in my head.
You start mixing characters from one story with another.
Or entire plot lines. Yeah.
All right, number 7, reading at home or everywhere?
I have to say reading at home because I don't really go anywhere. I work from home. I exist at home. I take a walk to the store every now and then, but that's on the corner. It's like a mile at most. There and back. But I did used to read or listen to some audiobooks when I did have a job that was outside the home. I had a 3-hour bus ride each way, so I would listen to audiobooks on that. But generally, I prefer to read at home. Also, because people don't know how to not interrupt readers when you're out in public.
Oh, God. What are you reading?
What's it about? Is it any good? No, I'm reading it because it's no fucking good. Are you kidding me? Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God. The international sign of don't talk to me on a plane is a nose in a book. And I constantly, oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm with you on that one. All right. So number 8, reading out loud or silently in your head?
I do enjoy reading out loud to people. If I want to share a piece with somebody, I will definitely volunteer to read out loud, especially if it's my own writing. But for myself, I read silently. I don't, like you said, I don't move my lips. I might giggle. I might even talk to the book, like I talk to the TV.
Oh my
Make gosh. A comment like, why the fuck are you doing that? Or like, no, don't go there, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't read the words out loud. No, not for myself.
I'm guilty of yelling at the book. What the fuck were you thinking?
Matter of fact, if I do read out loud, the same thing happens as when there's loud music. I'm reading what I'm reading, but I'm not reading what I'm reading. Like, it's not sticking, it's not processing. I'm just reading. It's just going in the eyes and out the mouth, not even making it to the brain.
Yeah. All right, number 9 is, do you read ahead or even skip pages?
Never. I never do. That is not to say that I haven't in the past. When I was younger, I was a little bit less in control of myself. A little less willpower, so to speak. And I would skip ahead. But honestly, I don't like spoilers. There are some people who don't care. But if I'm reading a book, if the end is spoiled for me already because it's been out for 20 years, I don't begrudge it. Because the journey of how they get to that part is just as important as the actual reveal itself. But I don't want to give myself spoilers. I'm already reading the book. Why do I need to see what happens? I'm going to get there. So, no, I don't skip pages or read ahead.
All right. The number 10, breaking the spine or keeping it new?
I definitely try to keep my books as new as possible. I understand that pages are going to be bent. There's going to be a drip from the condensation on the bottom of my glass every now and then. A tear maybe, you know. I know that spines are going to break eventually. It's going to wear down. And I'm okay with that. But I try to keep it as new as possible because I enjoy how they look. I really do. Like, they look so great on the shelf. And you can tell some of my Lindsay Sands books are a little broken because I've read them enough, you know. Yeah. But I do not intentionally break the spines. No, but I have heard of people doing that. And they intentionally break it so that it doesn't, like,
so it lays
close on them. Yeah, like.
That's what a bookmark's for. Or you lay something to weight it down.
They're like, it's going to, it's going to degrade anyway. Might as well just get it out of the way. And I can understand why someone might think that way, but that's not for me. No.
No. All right, number 11 is, do you write in your books?
Absolutely not. As I mentioned in your video, I have written in textbooks before because I kind of feel like that's what it's for. But generally, even with those, I take my notes outside the book. And the most I'll do is highlight. But when I'm reading anything other than textbooks, absolutely not. There's no reason to. There's really no reason to. If I need to make a note about it, I'll probably take a picture on my phone and like put it aside for myself because it's usually in reference to my writing. So I'll just put it in the album that's like, okay, things to refer to later when you're writing.
Okay.
But no.
Yeah. All right, so question number 12 is, when do you find yourself reading? Morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you get the chance, or all the time?
Evening and overnight. As I said, I tend to read entire books in a night rather than spacing it out, reading a little bit here and a little bit there. When I sit down to read, I sit down to read and complete the book. So, that being said, I also work from home at night. I prefer to be up during the third shift working on my writing because the world is quiet. And I live on a very busy street. You may have heard some of the cars passing by in some of our videos. It only gets quiet on the street between 3:30 and 4 a.m. Before that and after that, there are cars just opening up their...
Yeah,
the exhausts
the
and the
near
speeding and a college and a Navy base.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Oh my God, the racers and the sports cars and the motorcycles, and I get it, but like seriously, you're doing 60 and there's a traffic light a block away.
Yeah.
Come on.
And the speed limit's only 40.
Yeah, so I do prefer to read at night, overnight, because the world is quiet and there's less people using the couch at that point. And yeah. But every now and then I'll get up and I'll just start reading. Of course, again, that's my morning, but it's late afternoon for most people. So.
All right. Well, number 13 is, what is your best setting to read in?
My best setting? Oh my gosh. I think the best setting would be in a bugless, moderate summer outdoor porch.
We're in South Texas, honey. There's no
I
such
know.
thing as bugless.
I know. Hey, what's your best setting, though? I'm not from Texas. Where I come from, the mosquitoes only last like 2 months.
And we have them year-round.
The worst we get are like the little fruit flies that end up in those groups and you just walk into them.
Oh, yeah.
At dusk. That's the worst we get. Those and sandflies. But yeah, I would prefer to be able to read outside where it's not too hot, not too cold, not, like the ideal moderate, spring, summer day with no bugs. That's more than often the reason that drives me inside. Yeah.
And of course, at South Texas, we have monstrous mosquitoes. I mean, suckers are
huge. Seriously.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Number 14. What do you do first? Read or watch?
Generally I read first. Sometimes, like, if I run out of time and it's not a story that I'm particularly anticipating, I might watch first just because the movie came out and I'm, like, ready to see it. Yeah. Or, like you said, sometimes I'll get caught by surprise and I'll be like, I'll see this movie and be like, oh, it's based on something? Like, The Grey happened for me. The Grey, I went and watched The Grey on pre-screen tickets with my dad when it first, before it first came out. And at the end, it said it was based on a short story by Jack White, I think. I'm going to have to re-look that up. But it's based on a short story of the same name, I believe, which it's still on my TBR. And it's a short story. I don't know why I haven't read it, but that happened to me. I didn't know it was based on a book, and I found out afterwards. And then there's things like Brokeback Mountain, where the movie actually did come out first.
Yeah. Screenplays. I actually will not go back and read screenplays.
No, the Brokeback Mountain is like a novelette. It's like a really small book. It's not written like a screenplay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was not nearly as good as the movie.
Which I haven't seen yet.
That's all right.
Yeah. All right, so we are up to question 15.
Almost there.
Almost there. This is the third to the last question. What form do you prefer? Audiobook, ebook, or physical book?
Definitely physical book. Most definitely physical book. Yeah. I'm a collector. I'm a geek through and through. I've tried to limit my collections because I have too many, and I'm trying to also be not a total minimalist, but somewhat of a minimalist, and it's really hard to do when you're a collector. So, I definitely prefer physical books. My eyes are going to blur over no matter how I'm reading it, but they don't hurt as much when I read physical books versus when I read ebooks. Audiobooks, I would probably think to use more often if I was transportation more often.
Like a long
if I
commute?
long drives or long bus rides or things like that, I would use some audiobooks. But generally, the moments that I like would have the opportunity to listen to an audiobook, I'm watching TV while I'm working, or you know, something else. Like I've got something in background music, or I've got music on because I'm writing, and like reading a book while you're writing really isn't. That could lead to some really weird stuff, actually.
I have found once that I was writing while listening to material, and I was writing what I was hearing, not what I was supposed to be writing.
Yep,
and I had to start
mid-sentence.
I had to start all over. All right, so number 16 is, do you have a unique habit when you read?
I don't think I have anything particularly unique. I do fall asleep pretty regularly while I'm reading, like, because I'll spend, like I said, like 4 to 8 hours just reading a book, and every now and then I'll just, like, set it down on my chest and let myself doze off, and then I'll be, like, dozed off for, like, half an hour, and then I'll wake back up and just pick it right back up where I was, like, okay, it's, like, in the subconscious, I can hear okay, you've dozed. Now, if you continue to doze, you're going to fall asleep. You should start reading your book again. And this happens in my subconscious, and then I wake up, and I just start reading again. But, like, at a good stopping point, though.
Okay.
I never doze off, like, in the middle of a page. I always, like, I'm like, okay, I gotta, how many, okay, 4 pages. Okay. And then that 4 pages goes by, it's like, okay, I can set it down for a minute. I just get so comfy. Like, that... You know that couch.
I know that couch. It used to be my couch.
So comfortable. And then when you put your leg up between the two back cushions and it just like fits in there, it makes my hips feel so great after sitting at a desk for days and days on end. Just being able to like really spread the legs out like a dude and just like one hanging off the front of the couch and one like all the way up on the back. Like, oh yeah, this is the good stuff.
Yeah. All right, we have one question left. Number 17. Do your book series have to match?
Yes. Yes, for the most part. If I've had a part of the series for a long time and then I go to pick up the rest of the series and the publisher has changed how they're doing it, I might not worry about it. I'm not going to re-buy the books I've already bought.
Okay.
But if I get the choice, I'm going to pick the format to which I already have part of the series. I was almost one of those people. I was almost one of those people that would have sold what I had and replaced it with the whole series, because I do have a little bit of that OCD. Like, I've had to walk in patterns and count my steps and things like that when I was younger, and I worked my way out of it, but I still have those tendencies. So, like, when my bookshelf is sitting there and I have all my Lindsay Sands books right here, if I all of a sudden had, like, 3 of them that were, like, slightly bigger and harder cover, you know, like the hardcover paperbacks.
Yeah.
It would drive me nuts looking at it all the time because they can't sit flush. They can't sit flush, so I can't pile books on top of it. Like, it's a nightmare for me.
So thanks for joining us for BookKitty's Reading Habits Tag. Again, BookKitty actually found this from the bookduchess.com, and it was originally done by Nose Stuck in a Book. Check it out. So,
and I guess we'll just tag some people that we follow down below.
Yeah.
See who wants to do it. But of course, anybody who sees this video, if you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. Tag, you're it. You're it. You're it.
As always, don't forget to hit that big red button. As always, don't forget to hit the big red button to subscribe or ring the bell so that you will always know when we post new content.
And don't forget to check the description below where I will list where you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and Patreon.
This has been Book Mouse.
And I'm BookKitty. And we are now
Signing off.